go. All right. Well, why don't you tell them who we are?
We are from a website called Mygamer.com, and that website has been producing game-related content for tons of years. I mean, it's 20 years or whatever at this point. I think I've almost been there for almost 20 years. Maybe it's been 20 years. I don't even remember. It's been that long. So yeah, check out mygamer.com. You can follow me on Twitter at ZackGaz, ZackGaz. And every week we stream, or at least we try to every week. And this week we are streaming the still somewhat new Tactics Ogre Reborn. This is the PlayStation 4 version you got here?
5.
5, because you bought the 4 version, but you got the free upgrade.
Yeah,
to
if you have, oh shit, what the fuck is it? If you have a PS5 and PS Plus, it upgrades for free.
Ah, perfect. Yeah, I mean, there's really I don't foresee any like huge visual, increases or anything like that from 4 to 5, given that this is ultimately a Super Famicom game. But yeah, I love Tactics Ogre, and this is basically like the quintessential tactical strategy game in my opinion. Like everybody says, like, oh, Final Fantasy Tactics is great, which it is, not downplaying that at all. But we really wouldn't have Final Fantasy Tactics if we did not have Tactics Ogre, which came first. So in America, we got this game for the first time in the PS1 era, when Atlas published it on a PS1 disc and translated everything, because this game was originally on Japan's Super Nintendo, and we never got it because it was kind of a late release, super big game, tons of text. And the PS1 version, very well done. When that game came out that summer, that was like all I did is I just played Tactics Ogre. I bought it I think right after school came out, because I want to say it was like a June release or something like that, and just playing that game for just hours and hours. And the problem with the PS1 version is that you had to train a lot. You would just get your ass kicked every fight. So after every fight, you'd have to train, and training involved you just threw a rock at Canopus there, where Vice just threw a rock. So you would just go into a training
match. Fact that you knew his name offhand.
Yes, and you would. So the PS1 version sucked because you had to grind like nobody's business just to kind of survive. And grinding was so boring and so tedious because you just literally threw rocks at each other with 1 damage, but you would still get all the full experience points credit for it. So that just kind of took forever. But other than that, good game. The interface was different.
Do you get experience for actions taken? I thought it was...
Yeah, so it was different back in the Super Famicom version and back in the PS1 version. Back in the PS1 version, you can only even equip really just a few items. This new version here on Switch and PlayStation 4 is actually an evolution from the PSP version, which Square published back in the PSP heyday. Fantastic port. They took that game and completely redid the script, made it even better. They added the feature where you can hit a button, and then let's say you're in the middle of a match or towards the end of a match, and one of your character dies.
Your friend that's with you is a fucking douche, and your sister, I don't like her either. Am I supposed to hate them?
So this game has a crazy story. This is a very dark and adult drama filled game. This game had I don't know if you're like Game of Thrones or something, like a heavy dripping drama. This game just absolutely has it in spades. I mean, this is just a great story, and then the story branches at certain parts. I don't really want to spoil anything here because I played through this game, a couple of times, and I'm at the end of the game in my PS4 version now. But you encounter certain cutscenes where it's like, do you want to say option A? Do you want to say option B?
Yeah, the game starts off with that. Is the first one important?
The first one is not important. It's the ones that kind of come after it are very important and heavily determine the outcome of the game. And so you're going to be in a few levels from now, let's say maybe in a couple of hours. It's kind of at the end of chapter 1. you get presented with a choice, and both choices, just you as a player, very difficult and kind of no right or wrong answer. You're like, both of these kind of suck. I don't really want to do either of these. Like, is there a third option? But there isn't. You have to pick, and that decision kind of leads you down a path that's going to ultimately determine the end, the ending that you get, 40, 50 hours from now. And then, of course, along the way, you encounter other, very heavy decisions. So, yeah, it encourages multiple playthroughs because each ending is, takes a long time to get there. But what they made cool about this sequel, or it's not a sequel, this is an enhanced port, is when you get further in the game, you go to the menu screen and you get a timeline of events, and then you can go back in the timeline and like replay things if you want. And then even I think if you hit the like the left trigger, or like the maybe it's different on PS5, like the touchpad, you can kind of go back. If you're like, you know what, I didn't like the outcome of that move, I'm going to go back four moves from now.
It just told me how to do that.
Yep. So it's way more user friendly, because in the PSP, in the original PS1 version, you didn't have that ability, and to make things worse, death was permanent. So if your character died, like, because there just might be a turn where all the enemies just gangbang on one person, just shooting them with all your archers.
Oh, I've had that happen.
And it will happen, because that's how the AI acts. You got to try to focus all your attacks on one enemy at a time to whittle them down. And if you just lost a character, you're just screwed, and that character is just gone forever. You can't do anything to bring him back. You're screwed. So when I played my PS1 version many, many years ago, I think it might be in the next battle from this, is you run into an exorcist who helps you kill the undead. So like if you're fighting a skeleton, you take away the skeleton's energy, they like collapse in a pile of bones, but they will revive themselves after 3 turns unless you exorcise them. And his name is Presence, and he died. And I was like, now I don't have a monk to get rid of these, undead creatures in the future, just because I got killed and I was too lazy. I didn't want to go back and replay that hour battle. So definitely made some really good improvements with the PSP version.
Yeah,
if you have that, and then this also enhanced port.
Yeah, because I've had people die. The only thing is they get no experience for the battle.
They get knocked out, so they like collapse on the floor, and then you have 3 turns to revive them, or 3 turns to win the battle, and then it's as if they didn't die at all. So yeah, you still have plenty of time to revive somebody or finish the battle if somebody dies. It's not all or nothing. I need to reset the game and replay this whole thing, replay this hour-long battle again. So there's a bunch of features in this enhanced port here that are great. Like a few turns ago, you accidentally hit a magic spell on your own team. You get a little indicator now of where your arrow is going to go and where your spell is going to go. You get that line, like, will it connect? Because sometimes it's going to hit the person in front of them. Sometimes the terrain will get in the way. So you get that little indicator, which is really handy. You know that you can hit the button and you can go back and rewind turns, which is great, super user friendly.
So the one thing that I don't like about this, and I'll show you right now, those are your camera options.
Yeah, you can actually zoom in and zoom out. But yeah, there you go. And I agree. Like, it's not it's a little thing where when it's the enemy's turn, and when the enemy is moving, making their turn, you cannot adjust the camera during a turn. You have to wait. The other thing is like, let's say it was my character, I accidentally clicked a button and didn't want to do that. I want to go back in time and redo it. But it was the enemy's turn, and the enemy now has 6 units that it's going to go in a row. You have to wait for all 6 turns, 6 units, to then hit the button to rewind to go back. So it's like, no, I wanted to just let me do it now. Like, why do I got to wait for it? So there's like some just a few things that's like you start to notice when you put in 20, 30, 40 hours in the game. You're like, I wish this was a little bit better.
There's a couple things like I don't really understand why you can change jobs, but like it doesn't seem to affect your stats, like how you level. Like, so if I'm a knight now and I want to switch over to a magician, and I'm like level 5 and I switch to a level 5 magician, it would have been like if I had leveled up the magician from the start. The only thing that's different is like the skill level that you have then.
Yeah, it's different with the remake before. So with the original version, every character carried their own level, and like you would just, so like if your main character was level 6, if all your other guys were level 3, you know, they would be level 3. It's different here where it's kind of gets upgraded by class. So if you have another character that's a higher rank and you level that rank up, that's kind of where your level goes. But at the same time, levels get capped now. So it kind of prevents things from getting too unbalanced and always difficult. Like the game is difficult throughout, you know, I'm I don't know, probably 50 hours in, 50 hours in, and it is still a really hard game, you know, and I think they've actually adjusted, and like when you fight dragons, for example, like dragons have so much health and they take so many hits to kill, you know, so it's like, I think they had to do some rebalancing with that. So it gets to a point where you can't get any level higher. Let's see if it does it right here. No.
Yeah, like your level 5 is the max.
Level 5, right? So you can't get higher than level 5 until you beat that story sequence to unlock the next like 3 levels or whatever it might be. So that's
and what's also skill finishing moves.
So skill finishing moves are when you go, if you go to the screen here. Okay, here. Oh yeah. Canopus is a beast. You want him in every fight. He is because he can fly. He's basically one of your best troops you get throughout the whole game. So what finishing moves are is hit, you want, not options, but go hit, just hit X on it. Don't just, there you go to party. Now click on denim there, for example, X on denim. Go to the right side bottom, see it says finishing moves, and then click on a square there. Now you don't have any yet, for denim at least. But when you get a finishing move, which is basically like a kind of like a limit break, I guess, if you need to compare it to something, you're not going to get any for another.
Yeah, but why did it say skills finishing move when I beat the...
Yeah, so one of your characters might have gotten one, but at the same time, the skill up one, go to the skills section.
Oh, and you okay, click, so
right now
leveled up. Okay.
And so
it appears that I'm like constantly learning.
For sure.
Skills.
So you can equip now. This is different than the PS1 version and things like that. So right now you have 3 skills equipped. If you click on there you go. Now you can click on any one of these. Like if you want to try to recruit somebody in a battle, I try to go like, what's the one down? Like what's that shield one? Phalanx. Yeah. So like if you want to equip, that one, or you want to equip swords, and equip the sword one, and then you get better with your sword the more you use it. Yeah. So skills grow and they unlock over time. If you're a magician and stuff, or a witch, you can, you buy spells from the store and then you equip that spell. So if you want to have your character heal, you go to the store, you buy 1 heal, you equip it. Now that character can heal. Now, granted, every character can't use spells because it depends on your class, and then eventually you get finishing moves. So yeah, equip, make sure you'll always have all the maximum slots equipped, because they will level up in time, and some of them are really handy, like the pincer attack, if you can plan that far enough ahead. So this is also new. You had some of these abilities in the PS1 version and things like that, but it's just been they give you way more options and way more freedom here with this Reborn remake. The other thing too is they added voice acting for the first time, and the voice acting I think is good. I don't really have like a problem with it. I just think that I've been playing this game for so long, for so many years, and I love it so much that some of the characters just have voices that I thought would just sound different. Like Canopus, I thought he would be more of like a badass, harsher voice that like speaks, faster or something, but here he's got like a crazy accent that it's like fine, but in my mind I always just had him talking differently, so I don't know, kind of like ruined it a little bit for me, but So it's a good game. It's a great game. It's one of the best tactical games that you can play. However, the one big gripe that I have is, in my opinion, they completely ruined the visuals. I have a problem. I want hard pixels, from like the Famicom
Yeah,
version. But
they're
here they
kind
got
of
these.
softened.
They're these softened, smeared. They're not quite, it's just it's when you're looking at the game for so many hours, like how I've played, I'm like, damn it, I wish there was an option to go back to hard pixels.
Yeah. All right, so what do you think about this week?
Yeah, so I mean, I can talk forever with Tactics Ogre. Again, I think it's a game that you should, if you like tactics games, you have to play this game. If you like Final Fantasy Tactics, you have to play Tactics Ogre. The story is one of the deepest that you're going to get in any game of any genre. It's super deep. It's super detailed, so check it out. But yeah, it is available on Switch, PS4, and PS5, and it was on sale recently for 35 bucks. So I think 35 bucks is an absolute steal for this game, especially if you never played it before. The PSP version is still out there, and it's also a fantastic version too if you did want to play it on the other old handheld, so check that out. And then we are from mygamer.com. Check us out, put us in your favorites, put us in your bookmarks, and you can follow me on Twitter at ZachGaz. We can talk Tactics Ogre all day if you want to message me there. ZACK.
He will talk to you all day about it too. So
I've been talking to other people about Tactics on Twitter randomly, and I've made a couple of Twitter friends because of it, which is pretty cool. So anyway, Twitter ZACKGAZ, and until next time, thank you for watching and game on.